I'm really happy to have you all here. I was working out that we've got basically small pubs, large pubs, pubs with rooms, mega pubs, and Neapolitan pizza, steak and chips, and a lot of Guinness represented on the stage. So I am pretty sure that we have literally got all bases covered. In fact, all of the nation's favourites. So that's excellent. We're in a good place with that. But that does make it sound quite easy, which of course we all know from all the conversations that have happened today that nothing in the sector right now is easy. And, you know, on the stage here are 4 people who are leading their businesses and bucking the trends and actually like really smashing it in a super tough marketplace. So well done to you guys. But what I'm hoping that we're going to hear today is a few like interesting tidbits and insights into how they're doing that in this super tough environment. So Gavin, I wanted to start with you. In previous roles, but also in your current role, you've become a bit of a scale champion. You seem to be a bit of an expert at it. And I wanted to just ask, how do you approach scaling a business? We just heard from Harriet McWynn that obviously your new, fantastic partner over there.
I've heard of him.
That, apparently you're taking it from 35 to 60, which is awesome, but you've already taken it there to date. How do you approach scale, particularly with leadership as well? What do you think you need to change with leadership as you're growing, and what are you focusing on at the moment?
Listen, hello everybody. I think it's crucial that you remember what your core is. So we're a purpose-led business. I think we have a fantastic product. I think we've got an even better team. The reality is we need to stick to the core, right? Like, we can't change the things that got us to where we are. So people talk about numbers. We opened a site in Birmingham a couple of weeks ago, and I heard somebody who's a PR person who was asking, like, is this number 28, number 27? And I said, this is number 1. This is Pete's Pilgrims Birmingham. Like, the most important thing is that the people of Birmingham really love, are inspired by the experience they have in Birmingham. So for me, it's simply about, and it's not simple, of course it's not, but how do we protect the culture, which is, ultimately culture is the stories. It's the way that we do things. It's the food quality. It's the way we make people feel when they come to work. So I think you can codify those things. So as you grow, I think you can put sort of boundaries around them. You can put rules around them, but not in spite of that. So they should support the growth, so that you're seeing new audiences. There's a new opportunity to share pizza with people, but ultimately, we just try and do the same things. We're innovating the product, the processes, the way we make money, all of those things. Of course we are. We're trying to embrace technology and understand all of that mad world. And we're trying to make sure we don't mess up with property. But at the same time, people come to us because they want an hour in Napoli. They want the best pizza. They want the best hospitality. So I think it's really, really important. And I know it's difficult because we're all trying to make money. And yes, we sell a more simple product, everyone tells me, and it's just pizza and the ingredients are cheaper. But it's no less difficult, I don't think, and I've worked in very many different environments. You have to motivate great people, you have to develop great people, and you have to really listen to what your guests are saying. But at the same time, and we've got 2 fantastic founders who, from day one, we've tried to lead, not follow. So yes, we listen to what guests are saying, but we want to create a reason for people to come. And if you can do that, really hold on to it. So, I think our new partners and our team are the same in many ways. Like, we want to protect what we've got, and we will. As much as we possibly can. If there's synergies to be found, if there's things that can help us improve, well, why wouldn't we listen to that? But, hospitality isn't that complicated, really. It's about making people feel happy. It's about making them want to leave the house. And it's made more complicated by all of the economics and the political situation. But, I think we deliver great experiences, and we've just got to keep doing that, Laura, really.
Yeah, brilliant. And that actually segues really nicely into what I wanted to ask James, because you guys are really well known and you've won awards for your culture and your commitment to your teams, which is awesome. Well done. But I wanted to ask about how you have faced or, approached scaling the culture as you've scaled your operations, and what is like really core to your culture at Anglican.
Yeah. So yeah, we've been going a long time. It'll be 30 years since Dad opened the first pub next year. So it's a long-term business, but it's really the last sort of 5-10 years that we've started scaling up. I think what I've learned is you can't do it all yourself, as I thought you used to be able to. So really it's about how do you start building leaders across the group? How do you start getting people in your team to start believing what you believe in and making sure that they're sort of making the same decisions that you make, really. Culture is human architecture. So how do you push that down the team and get people to be believing what you do? So Yeah, for us, what's really been is, I think, codifying is a big thing. How do we actually define what culture is? 'Cause I think when you're there all the time, it's easy to, people can live off you and they can sort of breed off your sort of energy. But when you start, we've only got 10 sites, which isn't huge, but you can't be there all the time. So it's about how do you start defining what culture is, and that's really hard because it's quite ambiguous. So we had a big session with all our senior team a few years ago to really understand what makes our culture important, and actually we brought them in to help define what it was. So it's kind of like a shared ownership of it, and that's really helped us drive us forward because. It's been a really busy last 5 years. We sort of doubled the size of the business in the last 5 years, and that's really through internal growth rather than acquisition. And I think we've what's been challenging is getting people to buy into what we do and why we do it. And it's been a really tough 5 years. I mean, everyone knows, but actually there's some really opportunities there. So for us, it's about what really is important to us. We've got values in the business, and a lot of it's about family and how do you treat your team like you would your family. And so we've spent a lot of time in the last 5 years building, essentially my brothers in the room, we spent a lot of time actually looking at how we sort of step back from the business a little bit and you manage through our central team. So that's kind of for us what culture is, and getting them to buy into what we do, how we do it, and ideally make the decisions we'd be making.
Nice. And Jodie, I just wanted to come to you because you've come over from retail. You're now with Greene King at Destinations. And you, I think, have seen quite a lot just talking about scale and just picking up what on Peter Martin said before about there's lots of different ways that you can scale a business. I think you're seeing quite a lot of success in different channel growth and scale at Greene King. Can you tell us a bit about where you're seeing the successes and the opportunities?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was... definitely frying pan to fire, going from retail to hospitality, but in a good way, because I'm working in an industry now where people actually choose to come, and not many people sit at home and go, let's go to Asda or Sainsbury's on a night, and I think it's really interesting. But the one thing we're about to do, and actually we're looking at channel in our world, and that's, you think that pubs don't have channels, they have one channel, just come in, but that's not the case. Retail do have a lot more channels. They have non-food, they are online, they have their stores, but we have channel as well in terms of loyalty and data and digital, and that's something that we're really pushing forward now. And we launched our loyalty scheme about a month ago, and we're seeing our customers really act with that, and actually 70% of the transactions are going through our brands, and that's across the brands, from the value brands to the mainstream brands also. So that's really key, because that's a really big learning from retail into hospitality, because it was probably they've had data and they've had their loyalty schemes for 20 plus years, and the two that are the most mature right now are Tesco and Sainsbury's, and they're the two that are doing the best out of the big retailers. So if we can understand and use loyalty to get to know our customers more than anyone else, then that's really make a difference, and we can use that to drive the occasions. We saw the 6% of opportunity that we've got around occasions. We can really drive that going forward.
Great, and I think you mentioned also that you were having quite a lot of success with your pubs with rooms as well. Can you talk a little bit about why that's become a bit more of a successful channel for you? Because I also read that you were thinking about, or the company was thinking about potentially disposing of that section of the business. And now it's become a bit of a jewel in the crown almost. Yeah, is that down to you?
Yeah, I can't Nick's not in the room, so I can't quite claim that, and I certainly won't claim that. So no, we review our portfolio annually, and we have a look at opportunities out there. We decided it was the right thing to keep our hotels. We had made a big investment in one of our hotels down the south coast, and what we've seen more recently is our pubs with rooms is growing. One of our, in terms of my channels, it's the highest growth we've got, and that we're seeing people choosing us for the occasions, the family occasions, the weekend occasions, the overnight occasions. We're really seeing people choose that, and it's not just the pubs with rooms, it has to be everything. So it's the whole quality circle of food, service, environment, completing that, and it's another great channel for us.
Amazing. Charlie, I think, has everyone heard of the Devonshire, by the way? just checking. You, I think, have created something that is like living and breathing proof that you can scale a business massively from starting it, which is how long have you been open now? 12 months?
2 years.
Oh, 2 years already. Goodness. Just by kind of acquiring buildings next door and just making much bigger private dining rooms and what haves. So I guess I just wanted to ask you, what is really driving the success of the Devonshire at the moment, aside from the obvious? What do you think is at the heart of the success of the Devonshire? Come on, because we all want to replicate it. This was the question of the day, surely.
It's tricky. I mean, first and foremost, it has gone way beyond the wildest hopes and dreams of all of us involved in founding it. So we're extremely grateful and fortunate that so many of you, Shireen, make it your home and keep our tills ticking over. No, I think there's there's three of us co-founders, and each of us bring the best part of a lifetime in hospitality to the table, together with a real hope to create something special. And I think we believe that if we try and make something that we're really excited about and that we think is really really special and that we get excited about, that our friends are getting excited about, that's playing the game well, and it making money is the scoreboard ticking over to show that you're playing the game well. But we're not there looking at the scoreboard and trying to make the scoreboard go. We're there trying to play the game well. And that's stories, and that's each of us having a passion, whether it's Osh on making the absolute perfect pint of Guinness, or it's Ashley on, driving the sort of 42 different varieties of steak tartare that he mapped out before settling on the final one for the new private dining rooms, or it's me thinking about, okay, if we're going to have this many, 100 people a week, then we're going to need this many steaks, therefore we'll need this many square meters of dry aging room in our butchery, and sort of trying to bake that in before we open the doors. So all of us are trying to sort of make something that we're very proud of, that we think special.
Sounds really easy. No, I know for a fact that one thing, I'm going to ask you about your creative process in a second, but one thing Charlie definitely does before he opens is make sure he's got everything sorted before he opens the doors, to a point. But, you really do think about things. I wanted to talk about soul a bit more now and come back to Gavin and Pizza Pilgrims, because I feel like pizzerias, by their very nature, are such soulful places. But you guys at Pizza Pilgrims have managed to create not only like places with real soul, but also they're just really fun. They've got such a great vibe. And I just want to, ask, as you're going to scale the brand, which you are with your new partners, how are you going to make sure that you keep that heart and soul and joy within the business and the brand?
Carefully, I think. It's a great question. Look, we've got, Sophie's here over there. I think Sophie, Tom, James and myself have led this business for a number of years, and I think each one, to Charlie's point, brings someone different to some skills that are different to the table. We need to create a different environment for everyone to eat in. So that's why when we talk about Birmingham, when we talk about Edinburgh or Cardiff or wherever, they're different, right? They're a different audience, they're a different look and feel. So I think when you scale with soul, you have to create an environment that allows the team to be themselves. So we do that, and I think we do that quite well. And I think then we employ people who can be themselves at work. I think we give them the tools to do their job and let them express themselves in a way that is hospitality first. So we don't necessarily need people who've got 15 years experience in hospitality. We need people who really care about serving. I don't know what's gone wrong in this country the last 20 years that people think service is a problem. It's incredibly frustrating to me to see what in retail, in hospitality, the number of operators who are not delivering on that promise. And I think it just keeps us all sharp every day. I don't mean to be disrespectful to anyone, but we really do obsess every day about that team experience first. Then it's the guest experience. And if you do those two things right and your food is as you expect, you're probably going to make money. And I know those things aren't always the same in all areas, but that's how we scale with Soul. We look at we've talked about opening in Munich and what Germany has to offer. We've spent a couple of days this week with some incredible partners, and we can talk about how many we could do in 5 years. We did one. And we open it and we learn and we listen to the team and we listen to the guests and we adapt where possible. And if that doesn't work, we keep listening and we keep trying. But I think people want great experiences. We know that. Wherever you go, hospitality will exist. It will. And if you do it well, I think that you can make some money. But to Charlie's point, I don't think any of us get out of bed for that. It's really important we do it, Harry. It is really important we do that because that's the fuel for the fire, right? We've got to keep going. But I think all of us get out of bed in the morning because we're delighting our teams and they're delighting their guests. So it sounds simple, but we all know it isn't. It's a million different decisions every week and just trying to make sure the ones you get wrong quick and you learn from them. The ones that you get right, you learn from them too and you celebrate them. I'm not sure I've answered your question, but...
A little bit. I think we're going to move on to Jodie. No, that was great, Gavin. Thank you. Jodie, you've come over from souls, from retail to pubs, which, just talking about soul, are arguably sort of the heart and soul of the nation, particularly, when the going gets tough, right? Like everyone just wants to go to the pub or just the Devonshire. Do you want to, I guess, first and foremost, tell us why we're fabulous in hospitality versus retail? But also, I guess, tell us what we can learn from retail and also, what we could be doing better as a sector. I mean, I'm guessing technology, data and analytics from retail, but, is there anything else that we can learn as a sector?
Gosh, the brave question was full of hospitality experience for me to say what you're doing better. But I'd say... The maturity of how the supermarkets use data, that is definitely one, and how they use it to make decisions is definitely one. The second that's really key for me is how we simplify operations for the team, simplify stuff. So I can walk into pubs, back up into the offices, and I have never seen as much paper as I've seen in my life. It is absolutely insane. There's things that we still write down manually, and the process that we have in pubs that could be done easily. And this isn't about technology replacing the team members. This is about technology helping the team members, giving time back to the customer, the guest. And that is key for me. And that is where I think we can learn from either processes or the systems and simplification that retail can bring into pubs to make it easier. This is not about replacing, to make it easier for team members to be able to give that time back for the guests. And there's so much opportunity. And I see a huge amount of opportunity. I don't think there is much opportunity in retail. And I think a lot of it is a very mature model, but I do see huge amounts of opportunity in all the different... It's not a cookie-cutter place, hospitality. It's very different. So you need to have really clear processes and be able to deliver for the guest. And I think they're the things that you can learn from retail.
Great, thank you. And you didn't answer the question about why we're fabulous, but
you are fabulous. I think I would go back to the bit about the people and the core of it. And I think that's why I joined, because guests want to be with you in hospitality. They want to experience joy. They want experiences. You don't get that buzz when you're running a Asda or a Sainsbury's or Tesco. No one's thanking you for their weekly grocery shop, are they? But people are thanking you when they come into you and you give them a great experience, and that's one of the main reasons.
Amazing. And then just talking about experience, over to you, James, again. You guys massively focus, firstly on your culture, like we discussed before, but also on your customer experience and delivering amazing hospitality. I think, again, you've won quite a few awards for that. And I guess I just wanted to ask, how do you, with your pubs, because you really have nailed it from your hospitality experience, how do you keep that emotional connection in your pubs? And what is your special sauce? What are you doing so well?
That's a good question, because we've got 10 completely different offers in the group. We've got a wedding venue, we've got a sort of village pub, we've got a brasserie, a cocktail bar and a coffee shop. I think what we try and focus on, rather than what's different, what's the same. So there's a sort of a DNA in what we do, and we talk to all our team about what actually is the common connectors between us all. So that's kind of like how it starts at the top. But really it's about empowering our GMs, and because they're actually probably a lot better at running pubs than I am. My job is not to tell them what to do. My job is to give them the best opportunity to be creative and actually bring their skill sets. So we sort of give them a vision and help sort of set the focus where we are. underpin it with what makes us special in that DNA bit, and then let them sort of carry the story for us. It might go a little bit off track, but as long as it doesn't go outside the framework of what we set for them, then great. And then they start buying into it. They start becoming, family members. We've got a really good retention. We've got a lot of people who have been sort of 10, 12, actually got 3 people who've been 20 years in the business who are carrying this story for us. And they're the really important ones. They're the ones who know what we do. They've known all the good experiences, all the funny stories, all the anecdotes. So if I can just empower them to carry that forward, and then they become the ambassadors for us, it's kind of just letting them express themselves through enabling them to do it. So my job is becoming less and less important about holding on to what I want and controlling it, and it's really about empowering them to deliver great hospitality for us. And actually, I'm learning a load off them. So it's really about listening to your team, finding good people, and then just taking the obstacles out of the way.
Amazing. Charlie, we've talked about the Devonshire being perpetually busy, which it is literally every day of the week, every service, and yet it still feels like it's got so much soul in it. Probably the most soulful pub that's been created outside of Ireland, and it can't just be Osh with a Ceilidh in the green room. So I'm just wondering, how have you created that incredible feeling that when you get in there, there's just this amazing energy and incredible space to be in?
I think there's some things that people feel that they don't think about. So they see something and they don't register it, and they don't think about it in a conscious way, but they feel it. If you're decking somewhere out and you want it to look like an old pub, there are things you can do to make it feel like an old pub that no one will actually consciously think of. Knocking the edges off bits of new joinery, differentiating the shading of wood staining between the edges and the middle of wood panels. And those things you don't think about consciously, but your eye and your mind reads them, and it says, at a glance, this is an old pub, or at a glance, this is a new pub that's kitted out to look a bit like an old pub. And I think that the same is true around whether an offering is put together based on what people care about and their passions, or based on what a committee has put together, or a group aiming for some kind of profitability or what have you. I mean, the green room, for example, doesn't really make sense. It was we looked at how we're going to lay out the bar. Well, the bar probably ought to be on that wall. Well, we've got this big space behind that wall. What we're going to do with it? Maybe we could have space for kind of people in it, but it's not going to be, not everybody's going to want to walk through the bar. Oh, maybe we could have it sort of invite people to walk through the bar, or friends and family, and and so on. It sort of tumbles into an organic thing. And then, well, we've got this space now. Should we put a piano in? Maybe we have a bit of music. Music's fun. Why don't we have music every night? It's not really, doesn't make any sense to pay for music every night for the 15 mates of yours that are back there, but fuck, it's quite fun. And I think,
sounds really easy again, right?
But I think that when people walk in, a bit like the knocking the corners off, or the faded shading on the wood panel, they don't think through the logic of it, but they feel that this is a place with soul, and this is a place with individuals who've done stuff because they thought it'd be fun or because they were excited about it. And I think that gives people a connection to connection to a place in a way that it's hard to get when something is logically designed.
Which I also wanted to ask you just quickly, conscious of time, but just about your creative process, because you've also created an absolutely incredible brand in Flat Iron, which is beautifully simple but highly scalable. And almost sort of conversely to what you were saying in a way, but your creative process with that place, you know, where did that come from in relation to the Devonshire?
I mean, it's different but similar. I think the two of them have an element of quality and value for time and value for money. I think that by putting the work into, you know, and it's frankly it's easy in busy central London places. I look at people running low volume venues outside of London and think, fucking hell, that looks like hard work. If you're running somewhere, particularly if you're running somewhere big and busy in central London, you can deliver an efficiency of labour, you can deliver an efficiency of sourcing, particularly if in Flat Iron's case you're very focused on what it is that you're delivering, and any bit of efficiency that you can do around sourcing, around labour, converts into value for the guest. You know, there's if you're buying the same stuff from the same place as everyone else and selling it for the same money, or you'll make the same margin or less. Whereas if you can put that work in on the cooking to mean that, okay, we'll get the same stuff, but we'll cook it better, or you can put the work into the sourcing and say, okay, we'll pay the same money, but actually we'll source better stuff because we'll be a bit smarter with what we get. Or you can put the smarts into the labour and say, okay, we'll have the same number of bodies, but actually because we're busy, per head of person coming in, you'll be paying less. All of that allows you to give the guest walking in more stuff for their cash or for their time. And that's what I'm always aiming for. You know, that someone comes in and they're like, wow, that was for the hour I spent there, or for the 50 quid that I put down, that was fucking great, and that was better than I could get somewhere else.
Awesome. Again, really easy. I just wanted to ask if anyone's got any questions quickly before we're going to wrap this up with a couple of quick fire questions for everybody on the panel. Anyone? Well, we've got these fabulous people up here.
Okay, Charlie, make us all feel slightly better. First of all, if I could, my observation, what you bring to the table very well, Charlie, is a bit of less is more, and I think that's the beautiful thing about the Devonshire. I think is where you, as an owner, if you leave it to the designers, the architects, it can be maybe a little bit over themed or over spec'd. Whereas the lovely thing about the Devonshire is it feels quite understated. But just to make the rest of the room feel slightly better, you must have had one fuck up on the opening. Please share.
I mean, there were countless fuck-ups on the opening. I'm trying to think of a good example for you. Interestingly, you mentioned the designer, what have you. There was all sorts of pain and work went into that. I mean, we really made our lives difficult. We had 3 different designers involved. Which don't do that to yourselves. Each of which sort of have a bit of an opinion, and then you'd be three designers, 3 founders, and not much money. That's a message for a recipe for pain on a fit out. But no, I don't know. Major fuck ups. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of a sort of pithy comedic example of it, but no. I mean, finding a.
I suppose 3 designers and three owners is pretty much a recipe for a fuck up. But I suppose the lesson from that is you might create some beauty as a result of that chaos. That's maybe the optimistic lesson.
Hope so.
Okay, great. Anyone else got another question? All right, nice one. Okay, I'm just going to ask all four of you just a couple of really quick questions, starting off with Jodie and just working down. Jodie, with your business, what's one element that you would describe as a never mess with?
Fish and chips. You just can't mess with that. And that goes to key dishes. And I mean, don't really mess up the USP, whatever it would be, whatever brand, there'll be one or two things that you should just leave well alone.
Gav?
Listen to your team.
Avoid the bad apples. If they're in the business, get them out quick.
I like that one.
Tasty steak.
Don't mess with it. Don't mess with tasty steak. Okay. A bit more of a serious one, because, I feel like I've got to ask this as well, but it's so tough out there at the moment. And what is one thing you think hospitality needs from its leaders right now? Just one.
Great communication.
Positivity.
Bug, I was going to say the same thing, yeah. Keep it positive, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. Boring. But like you can languish in all the shit that's going wrong, what have you. Like, I don't know. We're like, compared to people who work for a living, we're in an amazing industry. Like, there's yeah.
So true. Okay, if you can ask for one thing for Christmas from the budget, what is it going to be? Come on. Come on, Rachel.
Rates reform. People say fairness is for kids, but in this case, it really isn't. It needs to be fair.
I don't want to be political. I think just consistency and stick to a plan. Like, I think it's tough, and I know they've got to raise some money, but maybe spend what you need to spend. I mean, that's what we do in business, right? Like, cut your cloth accordingly and just be consistent with it. I think we're all looking for that. Whether it's this or this, we want consistency so we can plan.
Yeah, ease off on the tax. We employ loads of people. Go easy on the people's taxes, and then we can employ more. Makes it simple.
You don't want a budget question, do you?
I've got nothing.
I knew it. I could see it in his face. It's like, just fuck off, Laura. All right, this is the most important question of the day, since we've been talking about soul so much. Aretha Franklin or Marvin Gaye?
Marvin Gaye.
Aretha Franklin.
Yeah, Aretha. Good away.
Marvin all day.
All right, just allow me one tiny little thing, which anyone who's from my team is going to just think I'm such a dick for doing this. But I just have to do it, because we were just saying that one thing that leaders need at the moment is, will you put that on, please? Put it on, come on, do it. And this is what I end at Caravan with all of our quarterly brews. Sorry, I haven't got the microphone. All of our quarterly brews that we do. I end with my
Men and women in black.
favorite director of all time, which is David Lynch, and I always put this slide up, which is I'm wearing dark sunglasses today because I'm seeing the future and it's looking very, very bright. So here's to hospitality, here's to its amazing leaders, and here's to keeping everything really positive and optimistic.